Hey, everyone, this is the second video. If you hear some noise in the background, please excuse me. I have Balkan neighbors and they have some people over and occasionally it can get pretty loud. So it's apologies, but it's not disturbing me and I don't think it'll affect the video too much. Okay, so what is this part going to be about? Well, I'm going to try to help you simplify your writing. It's really hard for me to do in such a short period of time, even during the semester. I think it would be best if the university offered a class that was 100% writing and another one that was 100% speaking. But c'est la vie, that's not how it works. So it's not going to, we're not going to fix it all in one go, but I'm going to try to help you with a few basic tips. So let me share my screen with you. So here we have the article. I've got up to the part where we would start. And here's the summary and commentary blueprint I've uploaded onto your Moodle. Now, if I were you, as soon as you get into class on the day of the final exam, and when you begin your commentary, I would write this first. This is what we call an outline, and I know you have it in German language courses as well. However, some students have told me, and I don't know if this is correct, you only do this for very lengthy pieces of written work. You don't do it for short summaries and so on. We are taught in schools to do an outline before we do any kind of writing. Excuse me, because you are writing something in English and not German, I recommend the same thing to you. Okay, so I'm going to, I'm sorry. I'm going to say that this is the introduction that every way you want to start the introduction. So here it would say the article, and what is the name of the article? We have a comma here. Oh, so very long. Inside the mating psychology of involuntary celibates. We need a quotation mark here, and it's always at the top. Inside the matings, I'll do the whole thing. Inside the mating psychology of involuntary celibates. A quotation here, and then another comma. Discusses the various aspects concerning men who are involuntarily celibate and the psychology behind this phenomenon. It was written by, who is it written by? Andrew G. Thompson, PhD. Andrew G. Thompson, PhD. On, I guess in English we just do this, my bad. On www.psychologytoday.com on, let me check there, April 13th, so 13/04/23. First, the author discusses the reasons, let's say the reasons incels believe, the reason incels believe they are single, and then elaborates on, what does it elaborate on? Let's say, so the overestimate the importance of good looks and status to women and underestimate the importance of kindness, the errors in cross-sex mind reading. I would say it elaborates on the errors they make, in cross-sex mind reading. Done. That's your intro. Okay, so now we have the intro to our summary. Let's get rid of this now. See how it's starting already to look like a summary? Paragraph 1. Firstly, the author states, see, I already wrote down some phrases here that I could use so I don't get confused and mix them up later. And you see, I have them every section, I have them ready to go. So firstly, the author states, what does the author state firstly? We'll just use something here. Incels think, or let's say believe, it's always better than think, their singlehood is a product of their social awkwardness. What was the other thing it said? Poor flirting skills and not being good looking enough. Okay, that's our topic sentence. Now we need to go to find evidence that shows this. Okay, so incels, the author. Oh, I would do this a lot. The author describes a survey that was given. Now, see how I say that was given? Can I get rid of this and just write given to incels? And does it make this, does it still make sense? Yes. So sometimes when you're writing, see if you can get rid of a few words and if the sentence will still make sense. That's what kind of academic and business writing is also about, is being knapp und präzise and not being too wordy or unnecessarily wordy. So the author describes a survey given to incels. Let's see, ranging. So we gave a list of 37 reasons why they might be single, ranging from love scares me to I haven't achieved enough in life to be considered attractive. Incels pick more internal and external reasons for their singlehood than non-incels. So let's say it describes a survey given to incels in which, I actually should say on which, nah, in which is fine, in which they were asked a variety of questions as to why they believe they are in their current situation. The questions, maybe we don't need to do that. So that's a supporting detail. We're telling about the survey. So we said the topic is why they believe they're single. Then we give a supporting detail. The author describes a survey given to incels. And we could even maybe add the questions involved both internal and external factors like being scared of love. Now, this is something I noticed you guys didn't use a lot. You don't use what is called the gerund. And that's because it doesn't really exist in German. You only use it like, for example, we say in English, smoking is bad for your health, and you say, das Rauchen ist schlecht für die Gesundheit, right? So you use it, you turn it into das and then the verb, right? Rauchen is a verb, but you put das in front of it and it becomes a thing. Well, when we want to make a verb a subject of our sentence, we just put ing at the end of it. So you don't have to do all these complicated which, whereupon, thereby. You can just take a verb and turn it into a noun by putting ing here. So instead of saying, for example, a sentence I might see from you guys is the question involved both internal and external factors, where they asked or which included or something like that. You don't have to always use a relative pronoun like which, who, where, what, why. Sometimes you can just take a verb and put ing at the end of it and it works. Like being scared of love or not having achieved enough. Incels answered. Oh, it's telling me there's a grammatical error here. Let's see what it says. Ugh, fearing. Let's leave. You don't have to do that. It's fine. Incels answered. What did they answer again? Something about internal or what? What was it? Internal. Incels answered that internal reasons for their singlehood were, oh, sorry, answered that internal factors were the reason for their singlehood as opposed to, so this means instead of, don't write this on your summary, I'm just going to try to help you here with some vocabulary, as opposed to external reasons. Non-incels answered in the opposite fashion. What does fashion mean again? Some of you might know. It means way. It's in if you mean like Hinsicht or Weise or whatever other version of that, in writing, fashion sounds better. Okay, so now we have our supporting detail. What about some evidence? We can use these three things here as exact evidence. For example, incels' top 3 answers on the survey included not being good at flirting, being socially awkward, and not being good. I think good looking is actually written like this, so I may have made a mistake. Good looking enough. So here, look, we know that the incidence of autism and its associated struggles with body languages. So you could also say incels also exhibit, or let me teach you this. We haven't used furthermore or moreover, so let me use moreover. I have my words saved here in case. Moreover, incels exhibited a higher range of social disorders like autism. Great. We have a first paragraph here, and it's one topic. It's not a mix of topics. I'm not listing things. I'm only talking about the survey. So it's clear for me, or who I'm writing for, it's clear for them what the point of the first part of the article is. All right, so now we can get rid of this. Get rid of this. Now let's move on to paragraph 2. Now you could include this in paragraph 1 if you wanted to. You could use this as evidence. Score of 3 out of 7. You could. I didn't, but you could. You could use this instead of the thing about autism. Here, you could. I'm not telling you there's only one way to make an omelet here. Is that what redewendung? There are many ways to make an omelet. You can use a different fact. You don't have to use them all. That's the point of a summary. And this article is quite short, so I don't want to use them all because then it defeats the purpose of a summary. So let me go on to the next section. First, did I include this in my incels belief? And then elaborates on the errors they make in cross-sex mind reading. Okay, I think. Let's see. And yeah, let's see. Typically, yeah. Okay, I could use both this and this in the second paragraph. So let me see here. Which one of these up here can I use? Incels overestimate. I can maybe use both of these things here, or I could use any one of these things here to write the next thing. I think I'm not going to focus so much on lower self-perceived value. I'm going to focus more on what they think about women in the second paragraph. Yeah, it's a summary. I don't have to cover everything. So I think I'm going to focus more on how they perceive women. So let's say, secondly, the author, I don't want to use discusses again. So let's say the author elaborates on the errors in cross-sex mind. So actually, you know what? I don't want to start with that, so I'm not going to do that first. Let's see. Elaborates on the perceptions incels have about the opposite sex and the mistakes they make in cross-sex mind reading. Now I'm going to put that like this in quotations, because I have never heard this before, and I'm going to quote the author directly. Right? Okay, so now I have to find evidence about the perceptions they have about women and the mistakes they make. So what are the perceptions they have about women? We can skip this, remember? Skip this. You can use it in your summary if you want, but I've already explained that they choose internal factors instead of external factors more often. So, the author, I don't want to say claims, comments, I don't want to say discusses again. So here's what I'm going to do. This is something I want to show you. Thesaurus, let's put in discuss. Well, I spelled it incorrectly. I see. Maybe that's why some of you use this, because you might have gone on to thesaurus and said, it's red. It's red, so it makes more sense. But debate actually takes two or more people. An author cannot just debate on his own or her own, right? Two people must debate. It's like a reflexive verb in English. So let's say the author explains. That's one we haven't used yet. So let's say the author explains that. Where were we? That how many women were recruited? Doesn't say. Let's just say that women were recruited tell us what their minimum rate preference were recruited to give their minimum rate preferences. So actually that doesn't work, right? If I said give their minimum rate preferences, would the average person know what this means? No. So it's not a good idea to just copy from the text. You have to understand what it means. So what does minimum rate preferences mean? It means to give their minimum dating preferences. Could say that, minimum dating preferences, or maybe even better is their minimum requirements in a partner. I think that one's the best, huh? Everyone can understand that. And then incels were asked to guess what they are. Okay, this is a form of cross. So we can say this, or the author states that this is what is known as cross-sex mind reading. Okay? You see how, like, I don't just say, the author talks about cross-sex mind reading, like everyone will know what this is. I explain a little bit. Only 2 sentences or 1 sentence to explain it, but sometimes you guys write in your summaries, you just take vocabulary from the text and throw it in your summary like everyone is going to know what it means. Of course, from my summary, I know what it meant, but you have to demonstrate to me that, or to me, that you would write it for somebody else who doesn't know anything about the article, and you would write it very clearly so that they could understand. So what's known as cross-sex mind reading. Okay, so what is it? The survey, or sorry, let's say this investigation found that many incel knew the importance of, what was it? Long-term relationship traits to women. But overestimated the importance. Actually, hold on. But overestimate the importance of physical traits and social status. Long-term traits include kindness and emotional stability. You see, I broke it up into 2 sentences. I could have said like kindness and emotional stability, but overestimate. But then I thought my sentence would become too long. So I broke it into another sentence. It's fine on its own. Okay, so furthermore, actually, no, I don't have furthermore here. I've chosen additionally or moreover. So let's use additionally because we haven't used that yet. Additionally, this coincides, so works with or matches, this coincides with the rhetoric that is seen. So instead of saying the rhetoric, let's say the incel rhetoric, so it's clearer for the reader, that is found on the internet. Okay, let's see here. Sorry, I thought this is boring. I don't want to, but I have to find other things. There's a bias. There's not some. With the incel rhetoric that is found on the internet. Maybe I can take something from the overall picture. Hold on a second. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? Paragraph 3. So I'm not saying thirdly. You know why I'm not saying thirdly? Because I'm going to expand on, I think you say erweitern. I think that's right here. I'm going to expand on the points in the second paragraph. I don't want my paragraph to get too big, and I don't want to introduce any really new information. So I don't have to say thirdly. You can do this on yours too. If you're worried that the paragraph is going to be too big, because I think I scared some of you guys with not making sentences too long or paragraphs too long. But I don't want to make it sound like you can't you have to eliminate some information. You can just separate important information into two different paragraphs. They might be about the same thing or similar things. And instead of saying thirdly, like it's a new topic, you can just say moreover, furthermore, additionally, something like that. All right, listen. I hope this has been helpful so far. I don't want to continue with this, not because I'm getting lazy or anything. I mean, my computer is about to die. But that's not the issue here. Um, I think I can't get in all of your heads and fix all of your past experiences with writing. I can't do that. And I won't be there with you on the day of the test. And maybe we can practice a little more writing towards the end of the semester. I'll give you little writing tasks, like write a paragraph from this article. Don't write a whole thing, write an introduction, write a conclusion for this, write two body paragraphs. So hold on just a second. I'm making a note of that. And yeah, like I said, I can't fix every problem you might face. I just hope I gave you a little bit of what the structure should be like, and especially how you should have an outline before you write. And you can just copy my outline exactly. Look what happens now when I've deleted. I have what looks like a great summary so far. That's because I have the right words. Firstly, the author describes, moreover. So I have the pieces ready to go. So I'm not just opening up a page and writing. So what if you'd like, what you can do is finish this summary for a lip task. If you just finish it up, I'll give you a whole lip task. You can use my top half here, and you finish it up with the bottom half, and I'll give you a lip task. Now, you can also write a commentary about this, but I think it's very hard unless you're a specialist in this field. So what you can do is use my commentary blueprint and pick an article from the internet and write a commentary about it just for practice before we write one in a few weeks, and you can use that for a lip task too. Yeah? Now, the good thing about the commentary is you can use I in the commentary. So I want you to keep that in mind. You can definitely use I, like, additionally, I believe, and you said, I would be inclined to agree. You don't have to be so distant from it and say, this can be agreed with, or something strange like that. No, I don't want that. Okay? When you're writing a commentary, it can definitely come from the first person point of view. So keep that in mind. And if you'd like, you can choose a different article from Psychology Today, because most of them have, let's see if keys to successful relationship, most of them have those bullet points at the top, and that can help you. And I'm probably going to do that on the final exam. For your commentary in a couple of weeks, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you another article from me, or you can choose of mine, or you can choose your own. But for your final exam, I'll help you out with something that you can definitely agree or disagree with. So it's not as hard as this or specialized as this. Um, but something that is easier for you to agree or disagree with and has bullet points, so you don't have to spend so much time thinking, what am I looking for in the text? Something like this, the hidden cost of dating app burnout. That's interesting. I mean, could be. I like pop psychology, so are smarter women really more attractive? 5 signs, how we find the right partner. This is very dating. We're in a dating loop right now, but there's tons of other stuff on here too. So I'm sorry if this wasn't as helpful as you imagined. I thought of this spontaneously, and I just don't know how helpful this is in the end. Next week, if you'd like to analyze more texts in class, please see me after class and say, hey, Andrew, this is something I'd like to do to practice for the exam. So can we do one from Psychology Today? Can we do one from here? Can we do one from there? Just so you know how to attack different texts. Other than that, I can't give you a 100% foolproof formula for succeeding. I can just help you as we go. All right, so I hope this has been somewhat helpful, and I'll see you next week.